is posting a story, an open letter that was posted last night from a woman who claims that she is pregnant and plans to abort her unborn baby next week. The note, titled, "I'm getting an abortion next Friday, an open letter to the little life I won't meet," is posted by a Reddit user, Scared Throwing Away. And she writes this letter, supposedly, directly to her child. She says she's just not ready to be a parent. Listen to this. "I'm sorry that this is goodbye. I'm sad that I'll never get to meet you. You could have your father's eyes and my nose. We could make our own traditions and be a family. But little thing, we will meet again. I promise that the next time I see the little blue plus, the next time you are in the same reality as me, I'll be ready for you." She says she's sorry and not sorry over the situation, and it breaks her heart that she doesn't feel the excitement that she's supposed to experience as a pregnant woman. But she's just not prepared to be a mom. She wants to have the baby and the baby to have all the things that she didn't have as a child. "Little thing, I want you to be happy. More than I want the good things for myself. I want the best things for the future. That's why I can't be your mother right now. I'm still growing myself. It wouldn't be fair to bring new life into a world where I'm still haunted by ghosts of the life that I've lived. I can't bring you here. Not now, not like this." I guess the Reddit community is supporting her. And I guess, in a way, so am I. I'm supporting her because she's so deeply screwed up. And obviously haunted by something in her life because she doesn't understand forgiveness, self-forgiveness. She doesn't understand. There have been a lot of things in my life that I've had to really work at forgiving myself and accepting forgiveness on. It's one of the reasons why I drank, is you try to forget all the things that you've done and all the mistakes you've made and all the opportunities that you've missed and all of the lies that you've been told over and over again, all the lies and the lies that you told yourself. And I found myself here recently kind of going down that path again of dragging on and hanging on to the past, the Jacob Marley chains, if you will, all the regrets, all of the mistakes. And I realized, wow, if you don't work that forgiveness every day, you don't make it. You have to, because you're going to keep adding, and you have to keep working it over and over and over again. This girl has clearly not been able to find that in the first place. It's a hard thing. So I feel sorry for her, but let me just say this. I feel sorry and not. I still feel sorry because she's so misguided, and not because it's not her right to kill that child. That child was brought into this world for a reason. Rafi is adopted, my only son, and he is as much my son as any of my daughters are my daughters. Brought into the world by a young girl who was lost herself, but did the right thing and knew 10 years ago, I can't raise him. It's not right. But it's also not right to kill him. And did the bravest, most heroic thing ever. We are so selfish, and if this letter is even real, if she does exist and this is not just some hoax, how selfish she is. What a great gift. And if it's not a gift that you can take, believe me, there are millions of Americans that are praying for that gift. Give that gift to somebody else.
You've heard me condemn radical Islam time and again on this show. Unfortunately, not everyone on the left has followed the lead. Check out what just took place on MSNBC. Christians were actually accused of terrorizing the world as much as Muslims.
The reality is that there's a lot of antsiness out here now because of ISIS and what people see on TV, and yet at the same time, this is a religion that is ancient, that is honorable, that is venerable. Why is it that we get confused between the two? We don't do it with Christianity because there's a lot of terrorism going on and being promoted in the identity movement and white supremacist groups within Christianity itself.
It's true. I think, well, one, it's harder to be critical of ourselves and of the religion that's most predominantly practiced here in the U.S., which is Christianity. But you're right. If you're talking about oppressing women, if you're talking about being homophobic, we can look right home. We don't have to look across the seas in order to see that.
All right, I have a few things I'd like to say about this, but I'll start over here, go around the table. Eric?
No, why don't you go ahead? I'm trying to figure out what he just did. He just hung white supremacy, hate towards women on Christianity.
Yeah, crimes against women and against the world. Essentially,
where did that come from?
Terrorist organizations.
Why don't we lump in cancer and Ebola too and blame Christianity?
No, they did that today earlier on Ebola. I think that it's a real disservice to feminist and women's movement that has done a lot for me, for lots of women of our generation, but I think that women have a responsibility to help us that get to live in this freedom and that this economic opportunity and mobility, that we have an obligation to help other women around the world. It does the feminist movement no good to have people like these two equating the lifestyles of the United States to people around the world. Just ask Lena Dunham, who last night, in all of her glory, made sure that she was able to do it. You know, she can do whatever she wants to do. She has responsibility to help others do it as well.
There's nothing more pathetic than watching individuals emasculated by their Islamophobia.
Right.
They are literally scared to come out and say something honest. They said that Christianity is against women or whatever, while there is an entire radical Islamic faction that is tormenting women. That is absolute
stoning.
I mean, it's incredible,
to death, right? And doing genetic,
just pathetic, pathetic
genital mutilation on women. Give me a break. I mean, what they said was so irresponsible. They're totally neglecting to talk about all the great work that Christians have done throughout the world, whether it is helping people that are misfortunate, helping the poor, helping women, and a religion of tolerance.
Good point. I'm going to just take 30 seconds here to say I've been a liberal for a long time. I'll put my liberal credentials up against anybody's. What you're doing is illiberal. You're doing a disservice to a progressive movement because you don't know what you're talking about. You're saying things that are just absolutely ridiculous. White supremacists, and you equate that with Christians? We've worked awfully hard on the left to try to dissociate those two together from each other. But please, I have a tendency to do this, so I'm at fault too. I do sometimes speak about things that I don't know, but this is like speaking about the world as it's actually not flat. You are being, you just, it's sad, is all I can say.
And welcome back to Outnumbered. Now, which is a bigger threat to the world and world peace? Is it America or ISIS? Check out what some Harvard student said. A reporter from the group Campus Reform posed that very question.
What is a greater threat to world peace, America or ISIS?
I think American imperialism and our protection of oil interests in the Middle East are destabilizing the region and allowing groups like ISIS to gain power. As a Western civilization, we're to blame for a lot of the problems that we're facing now. I don't think anyone would argue that we didn't create the problem of ISIS ourselves. We are, at some level, the cause of it.
The amount of spending that America has on causes of potential destruction in the world is really outlandish.
No, it's so outlandish. We have a very big vocabulary world, the words of Cambridge. And apparently all of these students were reading Matt Damon's suggested reading list from Good Will Hunting. How insane is this?
Well, you know what? There is a basis for this strain of logic, and I will give certain people who feel that America's encroachment and, over globalization, whatever, blah, 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 you can make a case for that, but are these kids well armed to make it?
I like the way you phrased it, well armed. I'd like to see which one of them is willing to defend this country. Who's willing to sign up to do that? In other places in the world, to be a citizen, you have to serve. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily the case at Cambridge or Harvard or whatever we're talking about, But I might have wanted to press in with them. Well, then who do you look to protect the freedoms of this country? I mean, if you're going to bash it so much.
I mean, John looks like he's chomping at the bit.
I mean, like I said, they're a threat to the gene pool. Anybody that says stuff like that. I mean, you're talking about America. Is America perfect? No, it's never been perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect country. But to sit there and say ISIS is less of a threat than America is. I mean, these are obviously kids that don't know somebody that's serving. They don't have anybody in their family that's ever taught them anything about this country and what the DNA of our country is about. And that if it wasn't for us, Hitler would be running Europe, the Germans would have Europe, and the Japanese would have everything else that was left over. Had we not gone over and dropped hundreds of thousands of guys dying over there. These kids never had a granddaddy apparently like mine. And they never had a daddy like mine that said, that's the American flag, and let me show you how to do the Pledge of Allegiance every morning. So I don't understand that those are a bunch of snot-nosed brats as far as I'm concerned. I can't stand hearing that.
Do you think that it's anti-patriotic to hold that view, or do you think that this is just pure liberal indoctrination in schools?
Both of those things, I think. It's not Matt Damon's reading list, it's President Obama's reading list. The same quote that girl gave in that speech was a very similar quote that he gave in his Cairo speech, where he said America had been, quote, downright oppressive in the way that it's handled, the world. The United States of America, and John hit on this, we are the greatest nation in the world. We are responsible for emancipating how many countries? And not only that, we go in and help and save, we rebuild them afterward, and then we trade with them.
Well, it's okay to be critical.
Being taught in schools. These kids are having this anti-American sentiment, which is just, it's disgraceful.
It's one thing to be critical, but it's another thing to say.
Right now. I mean, we're going there. We're sending our people there. Our experts in the military to go there and save lives. Look, we feed more. We save more, we rescue more than any country on the planet. We are exceptional.
Coming from a military family, I was truly offended by 99% of the comments that I just heard there. But what I fear is that you were pointing out that this is a university thing. The sample size might have been Harvard here, but I think that you would hear very similar sentiments if you went to university campuses across the country right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that at all. But I do think there's an argument to be made that maybe we don't have to get into every global conflict, especially when we don't have objectives or an end game.
What's infuriating about that to me, it's okay to be critical of our country, critical of anybody in this country, in the country itself. You can be critical of it and have your opinion. But when you're given the option of ISIS or the United States of America, which one is worse? And you're going, America's worse than ISIS? Yeah. Really?
They think
that's a scary thing to know that's in their heads. These kids are at Harvard. They're going to be running stuff.
Yeah.
That's scary.
second wall of the second temple.
This is the Wailing Wall where by the children of Israel come to worship their God.
זה הכותל המערבי, מאחורי זה יש את הר הבית, שם היה בית המקדש, כרגע נמצא שם כיפת הסלע. איך עולים? פה יש את העלייה לשער מוגרבים, זה עליית מוגרבים, יש את הבידוק הביטחוני של המשטרה ואז עולים לשם, ואפשר להסתובב שם בהתאם להוראות של המשטרה.
הר הבית, הר המוריה, המקום הקדוש ביותר לעם היהודי. בכניסה לגשר העץ הרעוע, המחבר את רחבת הכותל אל הר הבית, השוטרים עושים סלקציה. מי שנראה כמו יהודי מאמין, מעוכב. לעיתונאים קשה לקבל אישור כניסה למתחם. אני מסתנן כתייר, מצטרף לאחת הקבוצות המאורגנות מאירופה. בהר הבית יש נוכחות מסיבית של המשטרה. כשהאלימות מתחילה, הרחבה הגדולה הופכת לשדה קרב אלים, שמטריד 2.5 מיליארד איש בכל העולם. קשה להגיד ששקט כאן. צעקות אללהו אכבר מלוות את שוטרי מג"ב שמאבטחים החוצה קבוצת יהודים. היהודים המזוקנים עוררו חשד לתפילה אצל אחד מעשרות הפקחים של הוואקף. קבוצות הלימוד הפסטורליות מקבלות פקודה ומיד הופכות להמון משולעב, שמסוגל להקפיץ לקרב בשניות את כל מזרח ירושלים. התיירים המעטים מנסים להתעלם מהאווירה המתוחה, מתנהגים כאילו זה לא קשור אליהם. ניחאו. ניחאו. מצלמים את כיפת הזהב ואת כיפת הסלע בה מסתתרת אבן השתייה, ועליה עקד אברהם אבינו את בנו יצחק, או את ישמעאל. תלו את מי שואלים. מלחמת הצעקות של הר הבית בעיצומה. למטה במנהרות הכותל, היהודים שרים ומתפללים בכל הכוח, ולמעלה עונים להם עם כל הלב בערבית. בהוראת הפקחים של הוואקף, קבוצת נשים רעולות פנים מתפרעות ומגרשות החוצה נשים ישראליות שהעזו לפתוח ספר טיולים בעברית.
זה רק למוסלמים, יאללה. רק למוסלמים. זה רק שלנו, יאללה. יאללה, 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 אל תהיו רוח.
הר הבית בידינו?
אמשי יאללה!
what's going on?
We're just handing out free U.S. constitutions.
Okay. So you know where the free speech zone is, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's just where we do all of our things. And I know it's kind of confusing in the first week because we've had a number of different students trying to hand out different things in this area, and we're trying to make all students aware of our policies. So you can hand out a table at the Hawk. That's kind of like your go-to place to go.
The dining hall?
Yeah.
Okay. Inside the dining hall, though?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And then we just keep.
And we have to get approval for that?
It's really easy. Sorry, there was a bee like.
Oh, you're fine.
Coming. And they do it every day during meal periods and throughout the day as well to be able to table and talk to students and be able to do that.
So why can't I stand out here and talk to students and hand out constitutions?
Great point. This is our residential area, and so we have very specific guidelines for where we are and are not allowing canvassing and tabling to happen. And so that's why it's all in the Hawk.
Well, we're not canvassing or tabling. We are just handing out U.S. constitutions.
I understand.
To explain, free speech, actually. This is
Yep.
why we're out here.
Yep.
And being on a public university on a sidewalk that I can get to from the road, I have every right to be here as a taxpayer and as a student. So I don't understand why.
As a student, you can be here, but that's why we have the free speech space that's at the Union to do things just like this. And that's a very easy space for you to do it in. And that's just where we ask all of our students and any of our staff members or anyone else in the community that wants to do anything, that they do it at the Union. And I would appreciate it if you would turn that off, please, because I have not authorized you to record me at all. And I would also appreciate it if you would delete it, because again, I did not authorize you to record it at all.
Okay.
And if you are doing the same, I would appreciate it if you did not.
Okay, we're not going to move.
Okay.
Thank you for coming down here and talking to us and explaining the unconstitutional policies on campus, but we're not going to move.
So if you're not going to move, then I have to talk with my director about that.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, sounds good. Because we have our free speech zone. I understand that you may not like it, but that's where it is.
Well, as a student, we have the right to fight that.
Okay, definitely.
So that's what we're doing.
But it's not here.
To fight the free speech zone? Would you rather us fight it at the free speech zone? Because that's redundant.
I don't know, you tell me.
Well, I hear they'd asked you guys to do it in the free speech area over at the Union. Is that accurate? Were they kind and nice about it, or
no.
were they? Okay, that I can apologize if they weren't, but I mean, it is set up in in the university bylaws that that's the place to do the free speech stuff. This is not one. So, so ultimately, and then I'd heard that you had said I said it was okay, and I'm like, I didn't say that. So, did you and I have a conversation at some point that maybe it was misunderstood?
I never heard you say
emails. I remember the emails that were sent with the policies last year. That was about all.
Right.
Emails.
Yeah, there's some policies on how to use the space up there and the space in here, but it was never it's never a free open free speech area.
And that's kind of what we're petitioning here. We're petitioning getting the entire campus to be free speech accessible.
And I can respect that, but I think this is the wrong place to do it. I think probably the right place to do that would be through ASSOU and through that avenue, and then have that conversation with administration. But because the policy is already set for the campus, and I think that's regardless of how CPS handled it. I think the reality here is that they're just trying to enforce what's already in play, and I think that's where we have to be respectful of that. That's already there. If you want to change it, I think we go about changing it. But
so are you willing on having sitting down, you, myself, and a bunch of other folks, y'all willing to come in together?
Well, I think I don't want to speak for I don't want to speak for the whole administration. I think this is a university policy. So I mean, as far as me sitting down and having a conversation, sure, I'd have it, but it doesn't mean I necessarily support doing it.
Okay. So could you guys move to the free speech area for me? Make the residents here feel a little more comfortable with the situation.
If we don't move to the free speech area, what happened?
I'm gonna have to call Ashland Police Department, and then it's gonna get a little more complicated into like what you guys are doing here, and the fact that housing says you got permission from them to be in the dorm area here.
There you are, 53 minutes after the hour. It was a simple act of patriotism. A hardware store employee in Florida placing flags on the front lawn in honor of soldiers who have served our country. So why'd the city tell him to take them down? Well, joining me now is the employee who put out the original 6 flags in front of Family Hardware, Jeff Verzi. Good morning, Jeff. Thanks for being with us on Fox and Friends.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Now, those initial 6 flags have very significant importance to you. Tell us about that. Your son, your father, your uncles. What do those flags represent?
Well, they represent my family, the ones who served in the military. And every time I look out the door and I see the flags flying in the wind, it just makes me feel that my family are standing beside me.
So when the city comes and asks you to take it down, how did you feel and why did they do it?
Well, they said that they had a complaint, and I did it just so that I bought the flags so that I could put them out there, and it just reminded me of my family. I only get back to Pittsburgh every 2 times a year, and I wanted to just have something close by to see, be with me.
Well, we have a statement from the mayor, Marnie Sawicki, of the city of Cape Coral, Florida. She says this is a right-of-way and a public safety issue. This is not a flag issue. We requested the business move the flags about 6 feet onto a private property. There never was a threat of fines. The business wants to keep them up through Veterans Day. No plans for additional action. So do you think there needs to be some sort of exception for Old Glory? Is this a letter of the law versus the spirit of the law type of thing?
I would think so. I mean, the flags are only standing 12 inches high. There's no way that they can be possibly a hazard to anybody tripping, falling, or making so that you can't see driving your car. They're 12 inches off the ground. Yeah, well, obviously your community is not seeing a real issue with this. We've got amazing video of them waving flags. They've come to your side. Is this strengthening the patriotism in your community or shutting it down? It's strengthening it.
An African-American pastor now getting death threats after endorsing Illinois Republican Bruce Rauner for governor. And you know what? It didn't end there. This weekend, nearly $8,000 was stolen from his church. That's the collection box right there. Are these crimes and harassing messages all politically motivated? Pastor Corey Brooks joins us right now from Chicago. Good morning, your pastor.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on the show.
Who do you think was on that phone?
Well, I don't know who was on the phone, but I do know that someone's trying to send me a message that they believe that it's wrong to support Bruce Rauner or support a Republican to go outside of our status quo and to cross the line. It makes a lot of people upset, especially here in the city of Chicago.
Why is it you like the Republican for governor?
I like Bruce Rauner because I think we need someone who knows about how to educate our people. He's for choice. I'm for choice. I think parents ought to have the right to decide where their children go to school. We should not be made to go to schools that are underperforming and underfunded and totally failing. I do believe that Bruce would be much better at helping job creation. The economic wherewithal of our community is spiraling downward. We have 50% of African-American males who are unemployed, another 93 to 96% of teenage black African-American teenagers who are unemployed. So we need someone who can create jobs. We need someone who can take us into the future.
Well, this Georgia guy outraged after being told to take off his NRA hat to vote. Polling workers reportedly said that hat is too closely associated with the Republican Party. Well, the veteran and the certified NRA shooting instructor says he just wears it to advertise his business.
And it's absolutely infringing on my rights to express myself. It doesn't endorse any candidate or anything else.
Well, county election workers stand by their decision, saying that no one may wear political apparel so that they're not accused of favoring one party over the other.
Pretty. Pretty. What the fuck? I'm not the pretty fucking hopeless princess in distress. I'm pretty fucking powerful and ready for success. So what is more offensive? A little girl saying fuck or the fucking unequal and sexist way society treats girls and women? It's our future. So listen up, grown-ups. Here's some words more fucked up than the word fuck. Pay inequality. Women are paid 23% less than men for the exact same fucking work. And women who graduate university with straight A's get paid as much as men who only got C's. So bad grades equal more bank just because you're a boy? Hello and hell no. Pay up, motherfucker. I shouldn't need a penis to get paid. Rape and violence. Fucked up fact. 1 out of every 5 women will be sexually assaulted or raped by a man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which one of us will it be? So how many more women have to get knocked down before society stands up and stops it? Here's a hot tip. Stop telling girls how to dress and start teaching boys not to fucking rape. We're glad a women's right to vote is fair, but equality's next step is walking to the car without fear. Be pretty. So here's the tricky thing. Pretty, it's a compliment. But here's how this focus works to girls' detriment. Society teaching girls that our bodies, boobs, and butts are more important than our brains leads us to thinking our worth comes from our waistline. My aspirations in life should not be worrying about the shape of my ass. So fuck focusing on how I look and give me a book. The continued sexism, girls and women's stale face. Instead of cleaning these girls' mouths out with soap, maybe society should clean up its act. This is what a feminist looks like. Girls just want to have fun. Dimensional rights. $5 from each shirt goes to kick-ass charities that are fighting every day to make the world more equal for women and girls. Yo, bro, when you tell a boy it's bad to act like a girl, it's because you think it's bad to be a girl. Fuck that sexist shit. Fuckhate.com. To where, Jar? I don't give a f.
I'm Amanda. I'm Kat. And we're having a baby. We don't know what the gender is yet, but we are really excited to find out. I hope that the baby has Kat's talent.
I hope it has her quick wit.
We want to create a space for our child that inspires a love of knowledge and creativity.
Amanda's a writer. I'm a comic book illustrator.
I'd say we're both pretty nerdy.
Not super nerdy, more like retro robots and space stuff.
I think that we hope that we can share our love for science because there's so much with the reality of it that is amazing and awe-inspiring.
Yeah, we'd love to pass it on to our kids.
We want our child to know that anything is possible and that there's also nothing wrong with and everything right with pursuing knowledge and learning about the world.
Or traveling to space.
Or traveling to space.
Well, a California costume company says its costumes for babies are all in good fun. Costumes like a marijuana leaf and a cigarette. Many parents object, saying they'd never dress their kids like that. The owner says the best-selling items are always the ones that stir up the most controversy. Craze in California, mysterious clowns popping up across the state and terrorizing people.
Now it appears this peculiar phenomenon has made its way here to Jacksonville. This is surveillance video from a home in Springfield showing a costume character walking up a sidewalk uninvited to a home and apparently loitering right there at the steps leading up to the porch. Channel 4's Vic Michelucci talked to the homeowners and shows us more of these strange sightings.
It's a scene straight from a horror movie, but it's right here in Jacksonville. A Springfield resident's surveillance camera caught this creepy clown on his porch. He grabs a pumpkin and then tears it apart. The clown stares awkwardly at the camera before disappearing into the darkness.
What do you think about this whole Ebola controversy?
From where?
Here in the United States.
Oh, it's nice.
And it's like the disease, right, coming from the dirty water.
Have you ever heard of Ebola?
No.
It's a deadly virus.
Oh, like the bug virus. Because I had it recently. I was very sick. I found myself sick on my stomach. Very catchy, too.
That's scary.
Personally, I think people are overreacting about it.
I think it is the conspiracy.
How does the conspiracy work?
Networking. Do the science.
How do you get Ebola?
Juices, fluids, sex. You know me.
Oh, me like it. How do I know I have it?
Your eyes turn very red. You get headaches, you get stomach aches.
It's sort of like a bleeding fever sort of thing, and it's really scary. I wish there was a little bit more information available publicly to let me know what I could do.
What are you so nervous about? Now, what country did Ebola come from?
The United States.
Europe.
It does not come from Europe.
South America. Africa, right?
Right.
It gotta come from Africa. I believe like the animals that be in a jungle and stuff like that, they be doing a lot of experiments.
Now, do you ever ride the bus?
Yeah, I just rode the bus.
The CDC said that you can give Ebola to someone on the bus, but you can't get Ebola from the bus.
Really? That's weird.
Did you know that you can give Ebola on a bus, but you can't get Ebola on a bus?
Stop it. What you talking about, Wiz?
You think the CDC has done enough to combat Ebola here in America?
I think so.
Do you know who the CDC is?
Correctional? I don't know.
Center for Disease Control. That's what the CDC is.
They don't talk like that where I come from.
Where do you come from?
I come from heaven.
God bless you. The president just appointed a czar to oversee the Ebola crisis. Do you think that's a good idea?
Ever since he's been president, he knows exactly what he's doing.
Do you know what a czar is?
No.
Oh, she's adorable.
The person that he appointed has some knowledge.
Actually, the czar that Obama appointed has no medical experience whatsoever. Do you think President Obama has done enough to combat Ebola here in America?
Yes.
What has he done?
Got people jobs.
Does that fight Ebola?
He's done everything he can. He's signing bills left and right.
Do you think Obama's doing a good enough job combating Ebola?
No. They wouldn't be here. He should have took precautions and steps beforehand. Now it's here. It's too late.
Did you ever watch Bill O'Reilly? What about Water's World?
Okay, I really gotta go.
It's okay. All right, run along.
The government controls the media. We all know that.
So Obama's controlling this interview right now, then?
He is controlling the interview.
Hold on, the president's telling me something. Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. President. Did you ever watch Water's World? He wants to know.
Yes, I did.
I'm Waters, and you're in my world right now.
You know, there's always one guy in the locker room who's going to run around snapping towels at the other guy's privates.
All right, well, here's a piece of advice.
What?
Don't mock the interview subjects